Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us today as we are going to continue our coverage of Karina Cooper with her sentencing. We covered the trial back in July and now it has come to the sentencing phase. So it's Iowa. We're in Iowa, so we are waiting for the stream to kick in. For joining us. Just make sure everything is good on my end. Let's see, second sentencing today for Willie. Okay. Not following that trial, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll pretend that I do. Mary, yeah, I'm not following that trial. Fur Baby's mom, thank you for joining us. Forrest Nelson, good to see you. Jenny and Amanda, thank you for joining us. Sarah, Sherry, Lacey, Mallory, good to see you. Thank you guys for joining us today. Fur Baby's mom. Let's see. Will Johnson, Mandy, good to see you. Agent, stay away from the trash trucks. Right, exactly. Okay, let's do some backstory here of Karina Cooper. So this happened June 18th of 2021. She was charged with first degree and she was ultimately found guilty. Her husband, Ryan Cooper, was the victim. He was shot twice in the head. Huston Danker was the alleged shooter as well, or co-conspirator. He eventually took he pled guilty. So he was supposed to go to trial and he pled guilty. So the trial we followed it. It was from July 8th, July 9th, July 10th, the 11th. And so it was only 5 days, and the jury deliberated just under 4 hours. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play some clips while we wait. I've got some clips here for us, and let's get back into this trial, including her verdict. I'll play her verdict as well, but let's get back into her trial. Let's see here. Go ahead, and we're going to play some news clips, and then we're going to play her verdict as well. So let's get to this. Just give me a moment while I get this queued up and my camera. Okay, so here's a couple news clips that I want to play for you guys.
Years ago this month, Ryan Cooper was found dead in his home in rural Tama County, and police say he'd been shot twice in the head. It took investigators more than 2.5 years to make an arrest in the case, and when they did, it was Ryan's wife, Karina. Flash forward to today, and she appeared in front of a judge just 10 days ahead of her first-degree murder trial. Lawyers were making their case to the judge about what evidence will be included and what won't. Particularly, Karina Cooper's defense wants conversations that she had with Huston Danker on Snapchat thrown out. Danker is also charged with first-degree murder in Ryan's death. His trial is currently set for August, and Karina's trial is scheduled to start in less than 2 weeks on July 1st in Lynn County.
All right, so that's her getting arrested, and yes, I'm doing a little refresher. We're going to do a little refresher while we wait for the live feed to kick in. It's supposed to start at the end of the bottom of the hour.
County woman accused of killing her husband.
Sorry for that clicking. I'm not sure what that clicking is all about. Let me bring that down a little bit. All right, so here's the next news clip.
Her husband took the stand in her murder trial today.
Cooper was the defense's lone witness in the trial that's lasted 6 days so far. KCRG TV9's Lacey Reeves has been following the trial. And Lacey, the jury heard Karina Cooper talk about why she withheld information from law enforcement officers after the murder and years later.
Yeah, Jim and Danielle, Karina Cooper told the jury she suspected Huston Danker is the one who killed her husband. But she says she never told law enforcement officers about him because she was scared of him. Cooper says she and Danker were in an online affair that turned physical in February 2021, just 4 months before Ryan Cooper was murdered.
It was an online fantasy thing, and when it became a physical in-person thing, I was disgusted and scared of losing my husband.
However, Cooper admitted she continued to communicate with Danker and says he would often make threats about killing her husband.
And he had made a comment, and he said, if you get home and find your husband dead, make sure you pick up those shells for me. And I had asked him, what in the world, like, LOL, what does that mean? And he said, well, according to CSI, that's how they always catch the killer.
Snapchat messages showed the two of them talking an hour before the murder on June 18, 2021, including a message from Danker telling Cooper to, quote, remember those casings. Cooper admitted to responding to that message that read, absolutely 100%.
There's no ignorance on your part. When he tells you to remember those casings, you know what those casings are because you say, absolutely, 100%.
That was the Snapchat I sent, yes.
At the end of the conversation, she tells Danker to go, and she testified that she didn't end the conversation there.
I know I said more. I sent 3 messages in a row.
What did they say?
Go to sleep. 3 messages, like putting periods in between the words.
But the investigator who processed Cooper's phone says that's not true. She wasn't urging Danker to go to sleep. She was directing him to go.
They go to sleep. That is not possible from the records that you're having.
In my expert opinion, that is not possible, correct?
All we have is go.
Yes.
Karina Cooper also testified that she never told law enforcement that she suspected Danker to be her husband's killer. She says that's because Danker threatened her, but she never told anyone about the threats.
You don't tell him that Huston Danker has been sending you some messages that were very threatening that somehow disappeared.
No.
The prosecution has a couple of rebuttal witness testimonies left before both sides present their closing arguments. And that means the jury could start deliberating tomorrow. In the studio, Lacey Reeves, KCRG TV9 News.
All right. She would be a good one for the Ego Takes the Stand. I don't think she testified very long, though. But she would be a good candidate for the Ego Takes the Stand. All right, for those that don't know much about it, we're just trying to give you a little backstory here. Hold on a sec. And we'll show you. So she was theoretically messing around with this guy who was like 20 years younger than her. She's in her 40s, he's in his 20s. She's a hairdresser. She claims that, yeah, they did get together, I think, once. He's claiming, I think they got together more than that. Her friend said she changed. They did have, I think, at least 3 boys, if not 4. I think they had at least 3 children. They were there. The kids were there. And the state alleged and proved that her husband was shot twice while he was sleeping. He was sleeping on the couch because he snored too much, or sleeping on his recliner, and he got shot in the head.
Friends of a woman accused of killing her husband testified against her in a Lynn County courtroom today.
Karina Cooper is accused of shooting and killing her husband in 2021. KCRG TV9's Abigail Curtin listened to today's testimony and joins us live in the studio with the latest.
Well, from law enforcement officers to former friends, the jury heard a lot of testimony during today's proceedings. But one of the recurring themes was the relationship between Karina and her husband, Ryan. Now, according to multiple witness testimonies, many of Karina Cooper's friends heard a rumor that she was having an affair with another man, Huston Danker. They also said she often got into arguments with her husband, but the severity of those arguments came to light during today's proceedings.
Did you ever see her or hear her make any threats towards Ryan?
Yes, I did.
How many times?
Well, the one that stands out in my mind is the night that she yelled at him and said that she hated him and would shoot him in the face.
Now, the defense questioned McBride about a comment she made last year, saying the issues the Coopers had were that of a normal married couple. But McBride went on to say she views things differently now. Now, Karina Cooper is facing a first-degree murder charge. Huston Danker is also charged in the case. He goes to trial next month. In studio, Abigail Curtin, KCRG TV9 News.
Now.
All right. So, yeah, her friends testified that she changed. All right, I got one more news clip and then we'll play the verdict. Got one more news clip and then we'll play the verdict. This is definitely helping me refresh my memory. I hope it's helping you guys refresh your memory.
A jury will soon decide the fate of Karina Cooper, who's accused of killing her husband, Ryan Cooper. This morning, the jury is hearing closing arguments in Cooper's trial, where she's charged with first-degree murder, accused of shooting her husband in the face twice. Much of the trial has been focused on an affair Cooper had with Huston Danker, who's accused of murder in this case. Snapchat messages exchanged between the two an hour before Ryan Cooper was killed showed Danker told Cooper to, quote, remember those casings. However, investigators found a shell casing left behind at the scene that they say was shot from a gun belonging to Danker. When Cooper testified in her own defense, she said she believed Danker killed her husband, but she never told law enforcement about his possible involvement.
A woman who hates her husband, who wants a new life, who wants a different life with Huston Danker, plotting to kill her husband.
The state is still presenting its closing arguments. Once closing arguments are done, the jury will get instructions to begin their deliberations.
All right, so that leads us up to the verdict. So let's watch the verdict. And then I have a couple news clips after that, just two, which hopefully will get us closer to this actually starting. But it's definitely helping. We see so many trials. I know, it's true. And this was just July. This was like 2 months ago. And it's amazing how quickly you forget things. But yeah, it's good to have these little refreshers. All right, here's the actual verdict. Oh, hold on a sec.
Go ahead.
All right, let me, the judge was... What was the judge's name? Oh yeah, Lars Anderson. Judge is Lars Anderson. Israeli Kodiaga was the prosecution, and also Michael Ringle, and then Nicole Watt and Aaron Habacher. So Nicole Watt was the blonde-haired defender, public defender. Nicole Watt. Judge is Lars Anderson. So let me put his name. Let me see. So that's Lars Anderson. That's the judge, Lars Anderson. The prosecution was Israeli Kodiaga, Mr. Kodiaga, and then Michael Ringle also was there. And then for the defense, it was Nicole Watt and then Aaron Habacher. So Nicole was the blonde, and then Aaron Habacher. He was an older gentleman. I kind of remember him. Maybe we'll see him. All right, so here's the verdict.
Go ahead and be seated, everyone. We are back on the record with the jurors, counsel, and parties present. I've been informed that the jury has reached a verdict. Has the jury, in fact, reached a verdict? All right, Ms. Davis, if you could hand the verdict form to Ms. Davis. Would counsel and parties please stand? All right, I have a form of verdict. For form of verdict 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree, dated this 11th day of July, 2025. And juror number 1, is that the jury's verdict? Yes, it is, Your Honor. Would you like the jury polled, Ms. Watt? All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, at this point I'm going to ask that you return to the jury room with Ms. Davis just for a bit. We have a couple matters we need to wrap up here, and then I will come and talk to you in just a bit before I release you from your obligations in this case. So thank you, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Go ahead and have a seat. All right, I will, based on the verdict, I will enter an order, not today, but sometime over the weekend or Monday morning, because I need to get a date and time, but I will set this matter by separate order for sentencing hearing. I will not be ordering a PSI because of the offense charged and on which the jury has rendered a verdict. Ms. Cooper, I need to advise you that you have a right to file a motion for a new trial and or motion in arrest of judgment. Any such motion must be filed no later than 45 days from today's date, but in any event, not less than 5 days prior to the date that is set for sentencing in your case. If you have questions about those, Ms. Watt and Mr. Hawbaker are the people to talk to. Pursuant to Iowa Code Section 811.1, prior bail provisions are revoked and no bond is authorized at this point. Is there any further record that we need to make on behalf of the state?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Any further record we need to make on behalf of the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then we are adjourned. Thank you.
All right, so that was on July 11th. So July 11th, okay, so there's her two lawyers right there. Yep, and her female lawyer, Nicole Watt. She gathers her stuff. Off she goes. Yeah, Zoe Dashnell, right? I think she looks like Zoe Dashnell. And then Aaron Habacher. Yep, they're not even, her attorneys aren't even talking to her. They're just like, yep. And she's gone. All right, we can lose that. All right, so that was the verdict. And now I want to play just two more news clips. These are less than a minute. So then we can, we'll be done with our little recap and we can get to hopefully it's supposed to start at the bottom of the hour, so hopefully that'll happen.
Some breaking news for you.
Okay.
Breaking news for you. A jury out of Lynn County has found Karina Cooper of Tama County guilty of first-degree murder in the death of her husband, Ryan Cooper. Ryan Cooper was shot twice in the face in 2021 at his home in Traer. Much of this trial for Karina Cooper has focused on her affair with Huston Danker. Danker is also accused of murder in this case and is set to go to trial next month. The state argued Cooper and Danker planned the murder together, and she's the one who pulled the trigger. The mandatory sentence in Iowa for first-degree murder is life in prison.
And that's right. They had that tornado warning on the side. I don't know if you guys caught that. There's a tornado warning, tornado watch. And I remember the judge in my notes. The judge says he's talking about a tornado. Tornado warning, heavy thunderstorms. Tells the jury about the storms. I have that in my notes. And then she's guilty of first degree. It's supposed to be 2:30 Central, 3:30 on the East Coast. So it should be the bottom of the hour here, you guys. So just hang tight. Another 10 minutes or so. Yeah, I remember the judge telling the jury there was a tornado warning. All right, so one more clip, and then we're waiting for the live feed to kick in. So that will be sentencing. So nobody's missed sentencing yet. It's to come. Sentencing is to come. All right, so now this is Huston Danker. Remember, we were going to cover the trial. He was supposed to start, I think, a couple weeks later, but then this is what happened.
Of killing a Trayer man inside his home in 2021 has now pled guilty to the murder. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for the KWWL News at 5. I'm Luke Birdsall. Jury selection was scheduled to begin today in the trial of Huston Danker. Now, he was supposed to stand trial this week for the murder of Ryan Cooper. Danker was arrested in the case alongside Karina Cooper, Ryan's wife, after prosecutors alleged the two conspired together to kill him, arguing that they were in a relationship at the time. Now, Karina was found guilty of murder just last month and is now awaiting sentencing.
Right, so he was going to be the month later. He was going to be the next month, and then he took he pled guilty. So he pled guilty. So we were going to cover him, but no reason to cover him. All right, we have a feed. Let's get to the feed. It's just we still have like 10 minutes, but we can get us in there. All right, coming up at 3:30 Eastern, victim impact statements and sentencing. All right, so I hope that helped you guys with the refresher. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm looking at my trial notes right now. Let's see, we had 216 votes. Did the state prove their case? Yes, Karina is guilty. 90% of you thought yes. No, I have reasonable doubt, 9%. So let's see. The defense closing was Huston would have to sneak through the hallway. Didn't hear from Cade about parents arguing. A lot of messages, and we're not seeing all of them. 4:23, this took place. Huston's shoe print as he exits the front door. That's Huston's shoe. Yeah, they kept definitely throwing it back on Huston, right? Danker is nuts to be driving around, slinking around. He's a blowhard. Huston Danker went rogue. Karina didn't blow through the insurance money. That's true. I do remember that. They said that she did it for insurance. What was Ryan's insurance? Let's revisit that while we have time. Okay, $500,000 life insurance policy. All right, let's see. She had, so that was the loan officer at Chelsea Bank. So she had cash value, $500 life insurance. So his total, Ryan's, okay, so $20,000 face amount paid out to beneficiary, which was Karina. $24,724 made out to Karina. $514,882 made out to Karina. So her total, what she got. I hate to say it like that, but what she got cash by Karina was $539,606. Now, she paid some bills with that, but I think she still had quite a lot of money, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. All right, and then we had, if you feel Karina is guilty, this was another poll that we took. This might help you guys understand where we were with our chat. So if you feel Karina is guilty, what so far forms your opinion? Text about the bullet casings. Remember that? Make sure and Huston Danker's like, make sure you have one job. Pick up the bullet casings. Pick up the bullet casings, right? That was his text. 44% of you thought it was the bullet casings, the text about that. 35% of you thought it was a text about affairs between the two of them. 11% thought the testimony from friends, and 9% of you thought she's not guilty. So 9% of us thought that she was not guilty. There were two, okay, and then with Ryan, there was 2 entrance wounds to the left side. So he's sleeping on his recliner and he gets shot. I think it was like in the cheek, I believe. Pretty sure it was like, near left eye. Yeah. So he had stippling near his left eye. And I believe it was a 22. I think it was a 22. And then remember, don't forget, she was found laying on top of Ryan. So she's got blood all over. So that, a lot of you in chat were saying, well, she was just doing that to kind of mess with the crime scene. Now, what other questions do you guys have? Fur babies, was Danker's sentence? He pled guilty, so I think he was sentenced right there and then. I believe. Let me just double check. But I think he's already sentenced. Okay, so he pled on what would have been his first day of trial. He pled guilty. He changed his plea moments before jury selection. So moments before jury selection, he pled guilty. So does that mean his, let's see. He was subpoenaed, but advised through his attorney that he would invoke his Fifth Amendment. Remember, he was supposed to testify, but he said he was going to invoke. A sentencing date has not been set for Danker. That's that. So I guess they still have to sentence him. Let me see here. He entered his plea deal. Jury selection was supposed to begin, and he pled guilty. Let's see. Oh, October 3rd. Ooh, October 3rd. All right. I got to put that down. So October 3rd. October 3rd is the sentencing. So let me go jot that down on my calendar. October 3rd. All right, so we have October 3rd is going to be at 9 a.m. That's what they're suggesting right now, and this is from We Are Iowa. So if you guys want us to cover that, we will. Or if we're not doing anything else, well, we might as well, right? Might as well do it. All right. Put it on the calendar. It's on the calendar. Is it a Friday? Let's see, 30, 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's going to be a Friday. Yep. Rita says, yes, please cover Huston Danker. Oh, is it? Aaron said, oh, so I guess I should read our own description. Meanwhile, Danker, yep, he will face his own sentencing. Sorry, Aaron. Yes, I should read our own description, right? I didn't write the description, but it helps to read. See, I'm not even. I'm going to be. That's. I didn't realize that. All right. So let me read the description. We're going live for the sentencing of Karina Cooper. First degree shooting of her husband Ryan Cooper in their Traeger home in June of 2021. Prosecutors argued Cooper conspired with her lover Huston William Danker to delete Ryan and cash in on his life insurance, while her defense claimed Danker acted alone. At trial, jurors saw Snapchat messages between Cooper and Danker sent just before that prosecutors say show premeditation. Ryan was shot twice in the face while sitting in a recliner, while Karina found on top of him. The couple's 3 children were in the house. Under Iowa law, Cooper faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole. Meanwhile, Danker, 27, pled guilty to first degree on August 12th, just before his trial was to begin, and will face his own sentencing October 3rd. So there's the judge, Judge Larson. Prosecutors are Michael Ringle, Israel Kodiaga, Geneva Williams, and then the defense is Nicole Watt and Aaron Haubacher, and they were both public defenders. All right. Kiki, he is Katrina's co-conspirator? Yes. Oh, you guys are asking. Hey, Jerry, hello to you. Robin Frost, I hope others will join me in hitting the like button. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Please don't forget to hit the like button. All right. Jennifer asked the question, but I see that we get all kinds of answers. Did we get a verdict on other cases, Patsy? Yes. The other one we were watching, the Florida Jose Soto Escalera, he was found guilty. Psychosaurus Rex, not the water buffalo clock waiting for a court placeholder. Yep. It's the same one. This was the Louisma McKinley Louisma. He was the same. He was in the same courtroom, if you guys remember that. Kodiaga was a great, he was a great prosecutor. I liked him. Yep, he was cool. Let's see. Hey, Northwest, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Kelly, good to see you. If it's a mandatory sentence, then why have sentencing? Well, they have to do victim impact statements, and there's mitigating factors, although they did not do a PSI, which is a pre-sentence investigation. So that is interesting. We'll have to, I guess they have to do victim impact statements. Hey, Tom, good to see you. Kelly, I didn't know he pled guilty. Yes, he did. Right before his trial was supposed to start. Jury selection, they were actually in jury selection. And I'll take this moment, Florida PI Sam, she's a friend of the channel. She was part of the team that represented Andrew Thompson in the Sonny Bell trial. So for those that were watching that, I'm going to be on Saturday at 8:15 in the evening Eastern time. With we're gonna be doing a recap of the Sonny Bell trial, and we're going to get the perspective of Florida PI Sam, who is part of the defense team for Andrew Thompson. So if you guys have questions, any kind of questions that you have regarding Sonny Bell, please join us. We are really excited that we are going to be on talking with Florida PI Sam. So mark your calendars, Saturday at 8:15 Eastern on the East Coast. I have it in our community. I posted it in our community page, so you can find it there. I will also I'll drop the actual well. So there, Rafa's telling me something that I'm doing wrong. All right, so here's the actual link. So this is the link. 7 o'clock Central, yes. Link for Saturday. It's actually 8:15, but 8:15, I'm going to say Eastern. So here's the link. So that's the link. That's the link for, I posted it on all our social accounts. I also posted it in our community page. So if you go to our community page, it's a post there. So, but there's the link if you want to just grab it now. That's cool too. So that's Florida PI Sam. And like I said, I posted it in our community page as well. But yeah, it's going to be good. If you guys are at all interested, if you go to our page and then go to posts, you'll see it there, live Saturday 8:15. Join me on Florida PI Sam as we discuss the Sonny Bell shooting trial. Sam was a part of the defense team representing Andrew Thompson. I will be asking her all of your questions and more. So please do join us if you guys have any interest in Sonny Bell and you have any kind of questions, which I know I have lots of questions. I know you have questions. Please join us then. Yes, Rafa speaks. Shirley. Bice, I didn't watch that trial. Just doing a PSA. Oh. What's up, guys? So, if you did watch it, and you have questions, which I know I still have questions, you have questions, we're going to go over evidence. I've got screenshots. I want to talk about the casings, all the groupings. I want to talk about Andrew's cell. His cell was the only one that pinged outside of the area. I want to talk about Savante's outburst there during closing arguments. So it's going to be a good one. I hope you guys join us. All right. Why are we so late on sentencing? From July 11th, August 11th, September 11th. They need time to do although no PSI was granted. Right? He said there was no PSI, I think, right? Northwest, I was looking forward to his trial as well. He said no PSI, so no PSI due to the offense. 45 days to file the motion for a new trial. That's a good question. Usually with PSI, they have to gather mitigating factors. The state has to say why they want the full sentence. The defense has to say, well, this is why we don't want the full sentencing. So that's a good question. I don't know why it took them so long. Oh, why is it so late in the day, Patsy? That's court. I mean, that's court. That's a court thing. She means the time of day. Yeah. I think that's just court. What the availability of courts, I would assume. Amanda, I want to know how they are all guilty of everything. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, Amanda, join us. Join us. Ask the questions. We'll have Sam talk all about it as best as she can. She's not a judge, but she is a licensed private investigator. She went to law school, and she never. I don't think she took the bar, but she's, she's as close to being a lawyer as you could be. So, JMS, maybe the judge and some of the lawyers were not free until this date. Then there's always that. Yeah, I mean, it has to do with a lot of factors. But no PSI, though. So usually the PSI takes time. That's what I was talking about. They had to get the mitigating factors, meaning, this is why she shouldn't be sentenced to, life without parole. And then the state has to pull up their, get their factors saying this is why we do think so. But I have no PSI due to the offense. So, Amanda, I will definitely be there. Cool. Thank you for that. Northwest, when you participate in a felony, you are responsible for all consequences. That is true. Rita says her attorney acted like she couldn't stand her client. Well, it's been 45 days, so she has not filed an appeal as far as I know. Sharon says, come to Mexico. We'll go to Cancun or the Riviera, Maya, and there's the ocean. Mwah. Paradise. Let's see, we are 8 minutes past the scheduled time. Yes, we are. Sherry says, judge said because of the charge, but I don't understand why no PSI. Yeah, I've got my notes. No PSI due to the offense. So because of charge. I'm not sure. Did her kids get adopted by his brother? That's a great question. I have no idea. I have no idea what happened with her kids. Really don't know. Northwest, no harm in delay sentencing. She gets credit for days served. We might hear about where the kids have gotten to now. I don't know. Blue Giraffes, good to see you. How long was she free, spending life insurance before her arrest? Let's see. How long was she? Let me see if I can find that out. All right, this happened June. So June 18th. When was she arrested? Was she arrested right there and then? I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I can find when she was arrested. Okay, so she was arrested in February of 2023. So this happened, June 18th of 2021, so it took until February of 2023. So that was a long time. Denisha, hello to you. Thank you for joining us. Share as well. Seeing these lawyers defending the parents, that 4-year-old, this is a trial. I would like to suggest it's pretty hard though. Psychosaurus Rex, don't need a PSI when there are mandatory minimums. No PSI because it wouldn't make a difference if it's mandatory. PSI are pre-sentencing reports. Investigation reports, yeah. Investigation. So it's basically both sides get their cases together and they get the mitigating factors for the defense and the aggravating factors for the state. So you get all the things that say, yes, this person should be going away forever and ever, or no, this person should get, on the lighter side. So that's basically what that is. Cher says, I'm not even caught up to the trial for verdict as I just got home. Turned on your TV. All right. Patsy, she rented a beauty shop. Yep, so it had to be a while. That is true. Northwest says, arrested 2 years later. Yeah, February of 2023. So this happened June 18th of 2021. So she was arrested February of 2023, and Houston was arrested February of 2024. So she was arrested well after, and then he was arrested yet another year after that. So there's the info for the Sunny Bell, Florida PI Sam. Stacy says, doesn't the PSI also determine where they will be in the jail system? Richard says yes. Thank you for that, Richard. I did not know the answer to that. Hello to you, Janet. Thank you for joining us. Firefly says, it's crazy how many women I've been over the last 2 years arrested and convicted. Yeah, no, you're right. This was the year of, well, we had Lori. Let's see, we had Lori, and then we had Donna that we covered. Of course, Karina. Those were the ones that jump out at me. Then, of course, we do have Jose, but he wasn't married. Oh, Casotis, don't forget about him. We have Nicholas Casotis. But yeah, high profile for sure. Lori Daybell and Donna Adelson for sure. Very high profile. And then Cooper. Who else? Raul. See, Sonny, Lori, of course. What else? Carlos Dominguez. Oh, Monica Cementilli. How can we forget Monica? Let's see. Yeah, you're right. The high-profile ones have been female for sure, with Monica, Lori, Zachary Hughes, but that's that he wasn't. He was not, wasn't his wife or girlfriend or anything like that. So yeah, Monica Sementilli started us off, then Lori, and then Donna. So those, and then of course Karen Reed. She was pretty high profile, but she was obviously found not guilty. All right. Sarah Boone, yeah, Twyla. Sarah Boone for sure. Sementilli, absolutely, Forrest. Absolutely. Sherry says Donna is getting a PSI. JMS, yep, Sarah Boone. But I guess technically they weren't, let's see, well, they weren't married, but Monica was married. Donna, they're not married. That's nothing there. Of course, Karina. Lori, she was married to Brandon. Oh, I'm sorry, to Charles. Plus, Donna's in Florida. Iowa has different rules. The ballerina, that was Ashley Benefield. That was last year. That was last July and August, I think, because her sentencing was in December. So Jules and I went to that. So that was last year, Stacy. Janet, did they have it? No. Right as jury selection was happening, he pled guilty. So his sentencing is going to be October 3rd. Patsy, I started watching this channel when Raul was on trial. Carol, the burn lady, yep, burn pile lady. We didn't cover that, so I can't speak to it, but you're right. Yep. Female murders get more headlines. Northwest says. Kiki, there is one more lady that got the dead bodies. Not quite sure what that means. Courtney Clenny, yep, she's going to be in December. Shanna Gardner, that's happening. That's coming up in October. But yeah, Courtney Clenny for sure. Yep. Leilani Simon, that was last year. That was around Sarah Boone time. So that was last year. But yeah. Megan Boswell, absolutely. And then Chloe Driver. Let's not forget Chloe Driver. But again, those were last year. Although Megan was this year, right? Megan was this year. Yeah, I can't remember her. The burn lady, Sharon, I can't remember either. We didn't cover it, so I can't remember. Yeah, Megan and Leilani, Chloe Driver. I'll throw Chloe Driver in there with her little daughter. So Megan and Chloe. Oh, who's the teenager that shot? What was her name? Shot her stepfather? No, shot her mom. It was all on her camera at home. What was her name? You guys remember her? I know you guys will come up with it. She was the teenager. She shot her mom, and then the dog was barking, and then she shot at her. Melanie Ferris, right? Melanie Ferris. Sorry, Carol. Melody Ferris. But who's the teenager that shot her? What's her first name? Help me out, guys. What was her name? Yep, Melanie Ferris. Yep, Blue Giraffes, Melody Ferris. Craig, what was her first name, though? Carly Gregg. Yes, Snowcat, right? Carly Gregg? Yep, Carly Gregg. Yep. Carly Gregg, so don't forget about her. Yep, Carly Gregg. So yeah, so we can't forget about her. Throw her in there too, right? Did we cover Taylor? We weren't a channel at that point, Ed, but we want to do a rewatch of Shabibi there. We're going to do a rewatch. At some point, we're going to do a rewatch of Shabusiness and then show all the stuff that's happened. So, Ed, we weren't a channel back then. We watched it. We actually watched that, I believe, with Scott, Recovery Addict. Well, Letitia Stout. We watched Scott with her. I thought we watched him with Taylor as well. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Anyway, Ed, we weren't a channel, so we didn't cover it. Otherwise, we definitely would have been all over that. But we may do a rewatch of Taylor Shabibi, as we like to call her around here. Shabs. Nice. Shabs. TikTok girl, that is, that's OnlyFans. And well, I think you're talking about the same thing. If you don't cover December trial, OnlyFans will be very disappointed. Don't worry, Bice. We're covering Courtney Clenny. We're covering Courtney Clenny. Don't worry. Child of God says Liani Simon's also asking for a retrial, I should say. Corey Richens does. Yeah, she's got a date. I think Northwest, did you just drop it in the chat? I'm almost positive she has a date. February for Corey. Did we cover ASAP Rocky? We did not. No, we did not, Phyllis. We did not cover that. But there's a lot coming up in October. We got to figure out. Aaron and I still have to figure out. We got Fulio Coolio. We've got Shanna Gardner. We got Brian Walsh, all happening at the end of October. So, here we go.
County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lars Anderson presiding.
Good afternoon, everyone. Go ahead and have a seat. All right. We are on the record this afternoon in Tama County case EPI CR 018424, State of Iowa versus Karina Cooper. State appears today by Assistant Attorney General Israel Kodiaga, Assistant Attorney General Mike Ringle, and Assistant Tama County Attorney Geneva Williams. Ms. Cooper is personally present with her attorney Aaron Hawbaker. On July 11th of this year, a jury returned a verdict finding Ms. Cooper guilty of murder in the first degree in violation of Iowa Code Sections 701.7 and 707.2, Parent 1, Parent A Class A felony. First thing we need to do today is address Ms. Cooper's motion for a new trial. I have had a chance to review the motion filed by Ms. Cooper as well as the resistance filed by the state. And we'll start with you, Mr. Hawbaker. Is there anything you would like to state further in support of your motion this afternoon?
No, Your Honor, we would stand on the plea.
All right, and then I'll turn it over to, looks like you've got the microphone there, Mr. Ringle. So, Mr. Ringle, is there anything further you would like to state in support of the resistance to the motion?
Judge, no, the state would rest on the record created in this matter at trial and just note that the greater weight of credible evidence favors the verdict rendered in this case.
All right. Well, as I indicated, I did have a chance to review both the motion and the resistance. The court can grant a new trial in a criminal case when the verdict is contrary to either the law or the evidence. A verdict is contrary to the evidence when it is contrary to the weight of the evidence, meaning that there is a greater amount of credible evidence supporting one side of an issue or cause than the other. In other words, the question before the court is whether there is a greater amount of credible evidence which suggests the verdict rendered was a miscarriage of justice. That is not the case here. I have considered all of the evidence in this case and the statements and arguments made by the parties in their related filings, and I find that the greater weight of evidence supports the verdict. Without reciting all of the evidence that supports the verdict, it includes Ms. Cooper's relationship with Mr. Danker and the messages with Mr. Danker both before and particularly the night and morning of the murder, messages which directly implicate Ms. Cooper and Ryan Cooper's death. Accordingly, the motion for a new trial is denied, and we will turn then to sentencing. At this point, is there any legal cause to be shown why judgment and sentence should not now be had that you're aware of, Mr. Ringle?
No, Your Honor.
How about you, Mr. Hawbaker?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Ringle, does the state wish to be heard with respect to sentencing?
Judge, the state is just requesting that the court impose a sentence of life in prison without parole.
Mr. Hawbaker, do you wish to be heard with respect to sentencing?
It's required by statute, Your Honor, so no.
Okay. Ms. Cooper, Iowa law requires that I give you an opportunity to address me before I render judgment in your case. There's no requirement that you say anything, but if there is anything you would like to say, this is your chance. So, Ms. Cooper, is there anything you would like to state at this point?
I respectfully say no, Your Honor.
All right. Then, Mr. Ringle, I understand that there are some oral victim impact statements to be made. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. There are two.
Okay. And I'm not sure who and where they are, but...
And first, Judge Heather Cooper would like to make a statement.
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Cooper. I'm going to have you go over there to that chair, please. And there's two microphones over there, but one of them's got a little... that one, yeah, if you could turn it on. And Ms. Cooper, we don't swear you in or do anything like that, but I'm just going to ask that you give us your first name and your last name and spell them so we have that clear for the record.
Okay. Heather, Heather, Cooper, Cooper.
All right, and you brought something with you, and,
Yes.
Which is fine. Just want to remind you that court reporter here is going to try to get down what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm probably guilty of this as well because I was reading partly from a script. People do that, they read quick.
Okay.
So just make sure you keep it to where she can keep up with you. All right? Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead, Dan.
Okay. Your Honor, as I said, my name is Heather Cooper. Ryan was my brother-in-law. I want to thank you for this time today, for our family and friends, to have a chance to tell Ryan's story and share our grief and pain. 3 years left living in fear, scared of the unknown. Were we next? Scared for our nephews and our niece. At first, we thought, was this an unknown grudge to a person, to the Cooper family? Then as rumors escalated and time with authorities, it became, could she really have done something like this? I watched my husband live in fear those first few nights, unable to sleep in our home, being first on scene, left horror images in his head and unable to sleep at night, worried for ourselves, worried for our dad. It's a fear I wouldn't wish upon anybody. Why did she put him through that? Was it her last stab? Were we that terrible to her? Hearing names tossed around, but nothing made sense. Huston. What was this about? She never explained. She chose to let us live in the unknown. Then the children. I will never forget those faces. Pure terror that morning. I sat in that vehicle hugging them fiercely, their aunt. Nothing but pure love and fear inside. How does a mother look at her child with fear in their eyes every day and not say anything? Our lives that day were forever changed, but nothing prepared me for this. The day verdict came in, I had an idea of how I would feel. Grateful. Justice was served, right? But it wasn't. It was a different kind of sadness. Honestly, it felt like a death, like she had died. Life forever changed, a family forever broken. She was my sister-in-law. We could forever laugh, made fun of our husbands together, talked about and vent about all the things that drove us nuts about them, but we loved them anyways. I thought we would always have that bond. We were family, even when you drove each other nuts or we pissed each other off. We were family. Then after, it changed. Things were different. She hardly came around. She was distant. She could not wait to get out of there, it seemed like. She showed up, sitting through our family Christmases, almost like you were forced. How'd she do it? Knowing she did what she did. Sick, disgusting. Were our lives really that bad? Your Honor, during trial, you were given a lot of information about the character of her. I want to share Ryan and what this world is missing. He was a quiet man, you heard many say. Gentle, kind. got along with anyone. If he wasn't in those shops, hanging around with friends, you could find him on the farm, 2 little boys in their cowboy boots following shortly behind. He was the one that knew everyone. We would laugh because my husband would constantly get called Ryan, and we'd get, oh, there is another Cooper boy, mainly because everyone knew him so well. He was the one on the phone constantly for work. For a quiet guy, he sure was on the phone a lot. He was the guy that left his home in a disaster during a storm to go help the neighbor. He would go on family trips, and you would find him helping the owner out, not because he was asked or because he thought he needed to or needed anything in return. He was a simple man, kind, caring, thoughtful towards others. The pain of what he is missing never goes away. I heard once that when someone dies young versus old, you miss the memories that they never get to make. Ryan and Erin farmed together. It was a generational farm. Hearing stories of great-grandfather down to their dad is some of my favorite stories. They were brothers. Now they might have fought about the silliest things. Never sure who won, stubbornness seemed to run in the family. At the end of the day, it all worked its way out. Maybe ending with a good beverage and a job well done. My husband would tell you the year before Ryan died was one of his favorite times in the business. They were finally getting the dynamic. Mom was gone, sister stepping into that role. It was a full circle family business. Something to be proud of. Ryan would have told you he could not wait to show his boys how it was done. Counting down the years, he could finally throw him up in that tractor and say, get it done. Gosh, he was happy. We were happy. Now there's a hole in the business. A father no longer gets to teach the next generation. That is not how it should be. That is something we don't get back. That is our forever broken family chain. There's 7 children in this story forever changed, forever broken. Ryan's oldest, now a young, fine man. Ryan didn't get to see him graduate. Ryan would have been so proud. He was hopeful that he would move closer and he could see him more. I can see it now, talking about his job and his cool car. Oh, Ryan would have loved to ride in that cool car. We would all laugh together, saying, boys and their toys. 3 children forever must live with that awful day in mind, suffering massive trauma no child should ever have to witness. They never received any form of therapy until they moved in with us. I kept asking, why not? They always seemed weird to me. Why would you not want to get your children help? Since they started, they all have said it's been very positive for them. They are forced to live in fear for 3 years. She was moving them to multiple homes. When they came to live with us, we would have to check the doors. They didn't like the nighttime. These are things that we still live with today. They want locks on their rooms to feel safe. How does a mother know what she knows? Watch her children that way. I will never forgive or ever understand. She putting them through this. Cousins have now become siblings. I even find them saying that sometimes. My husband and I have 3 girls and they have to share their parents. Our nephews and niece talking about how they no longer have a mom or a dad. This is the part that is unfair. We did it without a beat. I would do anything for those children. But we should not have to. Their lives should not have been broken and taken from them. We have spent the last year supporting and encouraging, never talking ill about her. No, that was not for her. That was for them. She is their mom, and they may always have some sort of biological bond to her. I would never hurt them, and that is why we don't do anything that could potentially upset them. Hearing we were made to feel by them like we didn't want them in our lives after Ryan's death infuriates me. We tried keeping in contact, always met with excuses or not even a return call. Maybe that was your form of guilt. As we move forward of a family of 8, I want her to know what she gave up. We will be at every baseball, football, volleyball, and whatever game they choose. I will sit in that stand and I will yell proudly. I want them to look up and smile, and I want them to know that they are loved and supported. I will help them with homecoming, proms, the boys to pick their tuxes, take that little girl to get her nails and her hair done, pick out that perfect dress. We will teach them to drive and prepare for the future, go to the college tours, help them in their dorms, and create the life they wanted. Aaron will step into that role that Ryan should have played, showing the boys how the farming is done, being there through the good and the bad days. We will spend forever showing them what a loving marriage is. When they find that special someone, we will help them plan that special day, helping that not-so-little girl anymore pick out that beautiful white dress. Aaron, walking her down the aisle, looking at her saying, "Your dad would be so proud. He would like this one." When they start having families of their own, we will let them call us Grandma and Grandpa, loving those kids, taking them to all the lake and family vacations. Number one thing for them, we will love them and make sure that they are forever safe. Pray they won't fear trusting and loving others. I forever pray she did not damage them from loving. They go places now and it feels different. What once was happy memories her and her lover have destroyed. She destroyed so much of a positive future and ruined so much of a past. For what? Him? I don't understand. There were so many other options, divorce, seeking counseling. Why? Will you ever tell us? I will forever be grateful to the authorities that stay constant in our lives. For my husband, that never missed a week of calling. Honestly, it just became part of our schedule. They got to know his number well, checking and seeing where they were, making sure Ryan was never forgotten. How many times did she call? Maybe once, twice, in 3 years? 3 years, anger and mixed emotions, trying to decide if we would have to remain around her forever, never really knowing the truth. The detectives on the case became our family, supporting our family, helping us through emotions. We were met with support and kindness. We never would have made it through these last few years without the support of the family and friends and the community coming together, putting these kids first. Her friends became ours. Her family became ours. I know Ryan is proud. The guy always helping would be proud. She destroyed people, manipulated people, some in their most vulnerable times of their lives, claiming she had been through tragedy and loss and pain and could support. What kind of sick person does that? Was it worth it? This online, you say, relationship, was it worth it? Awful, deceiving person. She deserves the worst. But I'm tired of focusing on her. I want to plan trips and make schedules, hang out with friends, laugh at good times, make amazing memories. I don't want her to be the topic anymore. I want to enjoy life without hanging over us. So this is it. Last she will see of us. Last I will address her. Last I will care to give her any thought. She can now go to prison.
Mr. Ringle? Judge, thank you. Michelle Wilson would like to make a statement as well.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wilson. Ms. Wilson, if you could just give us your first and last name as well and spell them so we have it clear.
Sure. Michelle Wilson, MICHELLEWILSON.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. And whenever you're ready, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, today's the day. The day I can finally speak out about how this narcissistic psychopath made the incomprehensible choice to rid her pathetic life of my brother, Ryan Cooper. I began writing notes for this statement over 4 years ago. The first note started just one day after Ryan's murder. The day we sat in the building right next door and learned who was responsible for this heinous crime. Ryan was my little brother, 10 years younger than myself. From the time he was old enough to walk, he was kicking around in cowboy boots and farming from the living room floor with his extensive set of red Case IH die-cast farm implements and his Peterbilt semi-tractors and trailers. That kid was no doubt going to be a farmer. As he grew up, he quickly moved on to dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and real tractors. He loved all kinds of toys, even in his adulthood. During planting and harvesting seasons, Ryan couldn't wait to get out of school and into the cab of a tractor. There was never any question about what Ryan wanted to be when he grew up. He was a farmer through and through. It was also clear from a young age that Ryan had a fondness for little ones. I have so many photos of Ryan holding and playing with my babies, his nieces and nephews. Even more than being a farmer, he wanted to be a dad. Nothing made him prouder and more overjoyed than having a family of his own. His 4 children, Cole, Cade, Gable, and Cortland, were his most cherished treasures, and he loved them with every ounce of his being. On June 18th, 2021, all of this was taken from Ryan, and Ryan was taken from us. Back in July, just 2 months ago, we all heard the horrific details of the day that Ryan was murdered, and the absolutely disgusting 5 months of planning that led up to that day. But what ensued in the coming days, weeks, months, and years was atrocious. Imagine your brother had been murdered. Imagine the person responsible for his murder was living in your brother's home along with him and his 3 young children. The heinous crime was committed in their home while 3 of the children slept upstairs. No efforts were made by the person responsible to protect his children from either the purported random intruder or from the horrific crime scene. Within 24 hours, you've been assured by law enforcement that the evidence collected thus far undeniably demonstrates her involvement. Though much of the evidence is unable to be disclosed, you know just enough to begin putting the pieces together. Meanwhile, you are grieving and processing the murder of your brother. You are planning a funeral, all the details being decided alongside your brother's murderer. And that's just the beginning. The person responsible for your brother's murder now has custody of your brother's children. This person, who is typically a passionate, intense, assertive, and aggressive person, has nothing to share with law enforcement, offers no details or insights into who or how someone could come into their home and murder your brother, and never seeks a single update on the status of the case from law enforcement. Over the next 32 months, you want to see your brother's children. You want to remain part of their lives. You want them to know how important they are to you. But in order to do that, you have to spend birthdays, holidays, vacations, other family events, and community activities with your brother's murderer. You want to be there for anything and everything your niece and nephews might need. But along with spending time with the kids, you must also spend time with your brother's murderer. You want to help support their well-being and provide for their basic needs if they have lost not only their father, but the place they could call home. So you provide them and your brother's murderer with family acreage During all this time, your brother's murder is parading around the community, portraying herself as a grieving widow and a victim. She is manipulating anyone and everyone who would listen. She rarely ever speaks your brother's name, only occasionally mentioning him in conversation, and then referring to him only as husband. She sought praise and accolades for her actions and her efforts in building this new life for herself and her children. The new life that began when she murdered your brother. She even expresses to others how she felt the Cooper family was failing to support her and the children, like we had just abandoned them altogether and were choosing to exclude them from our family. Thankfully, many could see through her lies, but unfortunately, many others were caught up in her manipulation. As much as we wanted to face Ryan's murderer, confront her about her actions, to tell her we weren't believing her lies, we had to keep up the facade. We continued to hug her. We continued to tell her we loved her. All the while, she's still believing she's successfully hiding her deepest, darkest secret, that she murdered our brother in cold blood. We did that for the children, to protect and maintain our relationship with Ryan's children. And we did that to allow the investigators time to assemble and prepare the solid, masterful, and airtight case we heard at trial. Ryan, we will never stop saying Ryan's name. We will never stop celebrating Ryan's life. And we will never stop supporting Ryan's greatest and most beautiful legacy, his children. Cole, Cade, Cable, and Cortland will forever know how much their father loved them and how so very proud of them he was. Ryan will forever be remembered as a wonderful father, son, brother, uncle, friend, truck driver, neighbor. He was a man of few words. He spent hours on the phone, hours on end, making phone calls. And you all remember the headset and the miles and miles he paced while talking on his phone. And though it seemed he only had a few close friends, the attendance at his funeral and the miles-long line of semis at his funeral procession say the most about who he was to our community. Ryan was sentenced to death by this murderer. Those of us left on earth were sentenced to life without Ryan. There is no justice. There will be no forgiveness. What I hope for now is simply closure. There is no sentence for you that would adequately punish you for your evil, vile, selfish, delusional, and narcissistic actions. I will waste no time and no energy in addressing you about that. My full, complete, and final message to you is go to hell. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any further victim impact statements, Mr. Ringle?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. That at this time, Ms. Cooper is adjudicated to be guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree in violation of Iowa Code Sections 701.7 and 707.2, Parent 1, Parent A, and judgment is entered accordingly. She is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Her custody is placed with the Director of the Division of Adult Corrections for temporary custody with the County Sheriff. Ms. Cooper shall pay victim restitution to the estate of Ryan Cooper in the amount of $150,000 as required by Iowa Code Section 910.3B, Parent 1. And Mr. Baker, there was a supplemental restitution request to Crime Victim Services, I believe, in the amount of $14,944.76. Any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
I should also make restitution in that amount to Crime Victim Compensation Program. Ms. Cooper shall also make restitution for court costs in the amount established by the Clerk of Court and restitution for court-appointed counsel fees. Are you requesting any fees, Mr. Hawbaker?
No, Your Honor.
With respect to Category B restitution, I've reviewed an affidavit that Mr. Hawbaker has. Mr. Ringle, have you seen that?
I have, Your Honor, yes.
Does the state have any objection to me making a decision based on Ms. Cooper's ability to pay Category B restitution based on my review of that affidavit?
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, having reviewed that affidavit, I will waive payment of Category B restitution in Ms. Cooper's case. As required by Chapter 81 of the Iowa Criminal Code, Ms. Cooper shall provide a DNA sample to the Department of Correctional Services for purposes of DNA profiling based on the nature of the offense, and as required by Iowa Code Section 811.1, there's no bail in this case. As far as the reasons for my sentence are concerned, the sentence imposes a mandatory sentence about which the court has no discretion. I will say, this was a senseless crime. Mr. Cooper was, by what I heard at trial and from the statements I heard today, a hardworking, kind, generous man who loved his children and his many friends. Ms. Cooper, your actions, whether you were the one who shot Mr. Cooper or whether as a result of aiding and abetting Huston Danker resulted in his death, they deprived your children of not only a father but of a mother. And I can't really state any more eloquently than was stated in the victim impact statements, the broader impact it's had on Mr. Cooper's many friends and family. Ms. Cooper, I do need to inform you that you have a right to appeal this case to the Iowa Supreme Court. If you're unable to pay the cost of an appeal, you have the right to apply to this court for appointment of counsel and furnishing them any necessary transcripts of relevant proceedings. All is provided for in Iowa Criminal Code, Chapter 814. If you do want to appeal, you have to perfect your appeal by filing a written notice of appeal with the Tama County Clerk of Court no later than 30 days from today's date. Perfection of your appeal on that matter is jurisdictional. Failure to comply with the provisions set out in Iowa Criminal Code Chapter 814 would preclude you from your right to pursue an appeal. If you do want to appeal, you have to have a copy of your notice of appeal served on or delivered to the Iowa Attorney General's office. I believe that concludes the record. Mr. Ringle, is there any further record that the state believes needs to be made at this point?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Hawbaker, any further record that you believe needs to be made?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then that will conclude the record. Counsel, can I just, when you get a moment, can I talk to each of you just real quick?
All right, seems that that's Kodiaga there giving hugs in the suit, Mr. Kodiaga, who was the lead prosecutor. That's Ryan's sister. All right, so that's Michelle. Ryan was 10 years younger. So that's Mr. Kodiaga she's talking to. All right, that seems to be it. All right, I would just, again, just remind you guys, tomorrow, if you are at all interested in the Sonny Bell trial, Florida PI Sam, who was representing Andrew Thompson, she was part of the team that was representing Andrew Thompson. I'm going to be on her stream, and we're going to be talking all about the defense. Let me just put it in here one more time just to remind you guys, if you are interested, please join us for Florida PI Sam doing a recap and all about Sonny Bell tomorrow. So if you have any questions, please. Headstone, yes, let me do the headstone. Let's see here. So here's the headstone. Headstone. All right, hold on. Let me pull it down. All right. So Ryan Roy Cooper, Karina Sue, so God made a farmer. Proud parents of Cole, Cade, Cable, and Cortland. So there's the headstone. All right, there's the headstone. And I should have done this. I should have done this while they were doing the victim impact statements. Totally forgot. But there's Ryan. There's a picture of Ryan. So he was born June 1st, 1979 in Waterloo. He graduated North Tama High School in 1998. After high school, he pursued his passion for farming and joined the family farm. He was well known for being a hardworking farmer, truck driver, and cattle producer. He was proud to be continuing the Cooper farming legacy. His love for his family was even greater than his passion for farming. Ryan and his first wife were blessed with his oldest son, Cole. Later, Ryan married Karina. They had 3 beautiful children, Cade, Cable, and Cortland. So he was, so Cole was the oldest, and then Cade, Cable, and Cortland were with Karina. Ryan liked cheering for the Iowa State Cyclones and tossing back cold bush lights with his friends. He tore it up on the snowmobile trails, treated his family to annual summer trips to Wisconsin, and never said no to jet ski and boat rides with his kids at the Lake of the Ozarks. Ryan was known for customizing and accessorizing everything with a motor and keeping them sparkling clean. His attention to detail was unmatched, from picking out landscaping to designing a custom shop for all his favorite fast toys and beer-drinking buddies. Ryan will forever be remembered with a phone clipped to his hip, a headset over his hat, rubber memory bracelets around his wrist, and pant legs hanging over the top of his work boots. He died Friday, June 18th at the age of 42. So there you go. So his mom passed away in 2020, 1949 to 2020. And a sibling who was born in 72 but passed away in 78. Oh, that's a shame. He had a sibling died when they were 6. Wonder what happened. That's a shame. So there's Ryan. So all right, you guys. That about wraps it up here. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us today. Any kind of recapping? Heather is married to Aaron, Ryan's brother. They have all the kids. The kids went with them. So they have 3 girls, and Ryan had 3 boys and then a daughter. So he had one boy, and then outside of Karina from his first marriage and second marriage with Karina, they had 2 boys and a girl. So they have 4 altogether, and then Heather and Aaron have 3 girls. So it's I mean, I hate to laugh. I'm sorry to laugh, but it's like the Brady Bunch or something, but definitely not what they wanted, I'm sure. But they basically now have the Brady Bunch. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So then Michelle got up. She's the sister to Ryan, and she gave a little backstories on Ryan. So, all right, you guys. With that, we will let you go. Again, please join us tomorrow, 8:15, Saturday night. If you're not doing anything Saturday night, come join us, 8:15 Eastern. Florida PI Sam is going to have me on her stream, and we're going to be talking about Sunny Bell and everything that we can think about with Sunny Bell. So, love you guys so much. Thank you, Bice. Thank you for babies. Thank you, Woke. Thank you for a good cry. Sandy, thanks for the great coverage. Really nice chatters. Thank you. Cindy, thank you. It's only 1:30. I have so much day left. Don't leave me. Sorry, Rex. Sorry. All right, guys. Gretchen, hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Selena, itty bitty, thank you. Had not heard of the case. We have it in our playlist if you want to go check it out. It was 5 days long. And she does testify, so we'll put her in our series, The Ego Takes the Stand. We'll definitely have her in our series of The Ego Takes the Stand. So, Green Eyed Cat, Mod Love, Chat Love, Kitty Love, Aaron Love. Thank you, guys. Adrianelle. Sorry. Thank you, Erica. See you soon. Psychosaurus Rex, be safe and make good choices. Please, please, please join us tomorrow, and drop any comments in our comment section, and we'll be sure to get back to you guys. All right, have a great one. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. Rest in peace. You seem like a really nice guy. So, see you guys. Bye.